Now we're going to wrap up this poster design thing here. You notice that I have moved to Adobe Illustrator rather than Adobe Photoshop, which is what I set the thing up in. That's because in this video I'm going to be placing the text, okay? The text and the ratings graphic, stuff like that. Okay, so I still have my poster here in Photoshop. Now I did save another version of it. It's the exact same as the previous one that said working, but I put the word final on it so it's easier for me to find when I'm going to open it up in Illustrator. I always put final like with a capital letter on something when I'm done with it. All right, so let's go back here and let's place this. Okay. Now, like I said, I've said this many times in class, I'm sure. I prefer using Adobe Illustrator whenever I am doing something involving text. And you notice that I have it, let me adjust this right here so you can see. I have it set for typography right now. Okay. That allows me to have the tools that I need to set type handy. Okay. So let's go ahead and I already got my template set up here. It's 27 by 40. It's really big. I got my movie rating things here. I made those a little bit larger after downloading the PNG that you can find on the class website. I'm going to have to actually do an image trace on these in just a little bit to make them useful. Okay, but let's go ahead and place the artwork. You can either use the place feature, or you can just open up the artwork, copy it, and pop it in. It's up to you. It really doesn't make a whole lot of difference. A lot of times I'll just open up the artwork, copy it, and paste it. If we hit place, let's see, we'll find the final right there, and that will should load my cursor, or we'll just place it one or the other. Yeah, so there's my loaded cursor right there. So we'll just click once. It's really big, so it's kind of making my computer flip out a little bit. And then we can just set it right there. Now, the question though is whether or not I want to keep it at this size or not. I'm not really sure yet what exactly I want to do. So, I'll just leave it there for now. Let's see. Layer 1, make sure I'm on what layers I'm on. Okay. So that there, now it's perfectly placed there. Yeah, I may make this a bit smaller and leave a little bit of white on there, almost so I've got a white margin on the bottom and a little bit of a frame around it. That's more the style that posters used to have back in the 70s and the 80s. And I'm thinking I might try that. I'm not sure. Okay. But anyway, until then, let's start placing some stuff. Now, let's go ahead and take a look at our sheet here. All right, so we got a tagline here: "Gone, gone, 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 the form of man, rise the demon," and then the title. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to grab this right here, copy that. Let's go back here, and let's see. I'm going to go ahead and create a new layer here. I'm going to call this one poster art, and this one tagline. I may use different ones for different things. I'm going to click back on this poster art, and what I'm going to do right now, though, is I'm going to lock that. Okay, for the time being. There. Now I can go here and let's see. I need to take my type tool, and I'm not sure which font I want to use for the for that text. I don't want anything too hard to read. I want something kind of classy. Maybe Chaldea might work. That might work with the font that I'm thinking of using for the title. All right, so let's click on Chaldea, and let's gonna make sure that's set. And that's probably not even going to. It's probably going to override what I have set here when I click, and it did. But that's no big deal. You can just click on that, switch that around to get the type in there, and lose the stroke. And excuse me. Don't worry, that was a dry sneeze. Okay. Now I'm going to go ahead and just hit paste. And let's see. I don't know if I like that or not. That might be a little bit too bland. Let's see if we can find something a little more interesting. Let's see. I've got a lot of weird fonts here. Dragon Bones. There, that's better. Now, the question is, how do we split this up so it actually works with what we have here? And this is where it might actually work to have the artwork be a little bit smaller. Let's see. Let's go ahead and I'll set that like that. Try a bunch of different places. Actually, I think this is probably the one that's going to work the best unless I decide to make a frame on there and have it be outside of that. There. And let's see. Let's go ahead and set the title. All right, so I'm going to use that type tool again, and only this time, let's see, before I click on anything, I'm going to make a new layer, call it title. All right, it'll be green, and let's go ahead and click that. So we got our text in there, but we'll go to Mortuary Deco, and there's nothing wrong with copying and pasting, especially if it's a nonsense word. Etrigan's not a nonsense word, but yeah, it kind of is. It's just like a character that somebody made up a long time ago. A good almost 50 years, 48 years. All right, and so we'll paste. Okay, and that is also black again, so we'll set for the default. Okay. 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 Now, yeah, I think that's starting to work. Um, let me show you what I was thinking about doing. This is my alternate design idea. So let's set this over here. Let's set this over here. Okay. And object unlock all. My thought was to do something like this. I'm going to hold on my shift key and I'm going to make this a little bit smaller. Something along those lines. See, when I was younger, posters usually had quite a lot of white space on them. So my thought was to do something along these lines so that the white of the letters is almost like part of the frame. Now, then what you can do Let's go ahead and take this. Yeah, see, now I can take this and let's make this maybe red. See what that looks like. Oh yeah, I am digging that. Down just a touch. Now, while we have this grab, let's grab this, and let's go ahead and there. Make sure they're all aligned perfectly, and they're set. Okay, see, now that I dig. That is something that I think is working. Okay, so I am going to go ahead and do a save as, and this is going to be, I don't remember what I was calling the last ones. Etrigan movie poster final. That was what the other thing was called. So let's go with Etrigan movie poster. Text. This is going to be an Adobe Illustrator file that I'm saving it as for the time being. Going to take a moment for it to save because it is a very big file. Yeah, see, we're at 13%. Well, in the meantime, there's this thing here, and this actually needs to we need to do an image trace on that before we can start popping things apart. Let's take a look and see what the ratings on this thing is. It's rated PG-13. Okay. All right, let's go back to Illustrator. All right, saving at 65%. Moving along there. Okay, now it's done. I was a little concerned about trying to move forward with this while it was still saving. You know your own computer's capacity, I'm sure, and know what it can handle and what it can't. Same thing here. I was a little concerned about making my computer do too much and having it lock up. All right, so let's go ahead and this is a PNG file that I just opened up in a I don't know, just a regular size thing here. Let's go ahead and do an image trace. Of course, we do these image trace things all the time, and we'll hit expand. All right, and now I should be able to, I'll go ahead and grab some of that extra stuff that we don't need, and I can go ahead and select what I want. Whoops, I forgot what program I was using. There. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and copy that. And then over here, start adding some more things. Now in this case, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a new layer, put in rating, and we'll go ahead and paste that. There, something like that. That's a little big. One thing I'm going to need to do though is probably going to need to group these things. Okay. All right. So anyway, got that thing set in there. I'll do that in a little bit. I'll do that off screen because it's not that terribly important. Okay. But let's go ahead and add the rest of the stuff here. Notice I've got a little bit of room for some different things. Okay, so let's go back to our review. We'll copy that. All right, and let's go ahead and add a new layer, keep things organized. And this will be review. It's just a good practice to get into creating creating new layers every time you add an element. Otherwise, things get all sort of mixed up. Okay. And in this case, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a text box. So make sure we're on the right level here. We're going to go ahead and grab that, make it about that big. And notice that it wanted to put in just nonsense text. And it still sounded mortuary deco, so we don't want that. So we're going to have to change that. Let's just go with something straightforward. I don't think we want any sort of a novelty font, even the sort of cool font that we use for the tagline. It's a little too fancy for text. I keep telling you guys, and I'll keep telling you guys, when it comes to large bodies of text, you got to keep it simple. You got to keep it readable. All right. So, and I've got a lot of novelty fonts here, so I just need something that is just a classic. I can always just go with Times New Roman. Times New Roman is the go-to for serif fonts. So there's that. We'll make the size. Let's take it down to 48, and then we'll paste. Okay. Now, right now, it looks like that was maybe a little bit big. So let's take it down to 24. Let's do that. There we go. Now let's try it. 36. All right. Now, while that's still selected, let's go ahead and make that white. Let's get rid of that stroke. And since this is a text box, I can now make it any shape that I want. Oops. Undo move. So something like that will work. Now, this right here, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to lock this again. I just moved it by mistake, so I'm going to lock that. And that'll allow me to move this thing around a little bit. There, so we got a little tagline right there, or the review right there. The only problem about that is we need to have a little bit of room for the stars. We could probably put them across the top here or put them down here. Yeah, that doesn't really work there. But again, since it's a text box, you can do things like that. Figure out what kind of shape will work. Down here. Actually, that kind of works right there. Yeah. So I think I'll leave that right there. I think that works. And let's see who's in this thing. Copy that. Now, it's in my opinion, it's always a good idea to just copy and paste things. That way, you don't have to worry about misspelling something or something like that. So let's go ahead, make another layer here. We'll call this one stars. And in this case, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use dragon bones again. And let's go ahead while that's still selected and make that 32. And we'll paste. So there's the names of the people that are in it. might play with those a little bit. Let's go ahead and, whoops, did that wrong. Yeah, now right now the way it's set up, I don't really care for that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these names and kind of split them up a little bit. So backspace, put that down there, and make sure those are set right. And the only issue is we got one guy who's got a name way longer than another person's. So I don't know if that really works, but here's the thing. We can add another, since I added Dwayne Johnson's name. Also known, I keep calling him The Rock. I'm just an old fart. Let's see, Dwayne. There. Okay. That balances out the whole thing a little bit better. Now the question is, do I want to leave that white or want to make that red like I have the red up here? Actually, this red, I think I want to have it be a little slightly darker red, so let's do that. That works better. I don't know, the red might work, but the white kind of works with the white of the title. I think I'll leave that white for now. Okay, cool. All right, so let's hit save. And as far as the design is concerned, I think we're pretty much done. Like I said, I may go in and make this whole thing this thing a bit smaller, something like that. But you don't need to you don't need to watch something uh, as silly and time consuming as just regrouping something. All right. Okay. So I will talk to you guys later. Be well.